So everybody knows the current staples and how they're good in the format, right? It's no surprise that pretty much everybody's playing the same staples right now, and honestly, no side deck really caught my eye as of lately. What I find interesting is that there are a lot of other good options, but nobody's really exploring them too much. And of course today I will go over a few of them, and I'll try to see if they could be helpful to you. The first one is a card that I spoke about briefly in the past, which would be Magical Deflector. This card is extremely niche and honestly only really good in a format where a lot of non-normal spell cards are being played. So it used to be really good against True Draco because it negated all of their continuous and field spell cards, and they played a lot of them. And Kashtira is no exception. They play Bird, they play the field spells, so you can shut down a lot of cards just with Magical Deflector. But most importantly, you can shut down a lot of board breakers with this card. So Book of Eclipse, Book of Lunar Eclipse, Book of Moon, Cosmic Cyclone, etc. A lot of board breakers right now are quick play spell cards. And the way I like to see it is Magical Deflector is basically a dimensional barrier for any kind of spell card that wouldn't be a normal spell or a ritual spell. Next up is Hate Shrunade, a card that is very similar to Harpy's Feather Duster, but at the same time a little different. Hate Shrunade doesn't make your opponent lose any resources, it only makes their back row go back to the hand. Well, most specifically, it only affects set, spell, and shop cards, so it's not that good against Floodgates, but it's still overall pretty good. And on paper, this card looks worse than Duster, but at the same time, sometimes it could be better. So this card bypasses the protection from Lord of the Heavenly Prison, and also it allows you to just play around Waking the Dragon, for example. Now this card's really good against Trap Tricks because they have a lot of inherent protection, so Arachnokampa and also Lord of the Heavenly Prison, and both of these cards are super easy to search. Now after that is another card that has not seen play in years, and that would be Magical Midbreaker Field. I think this card might be the only limited field spell that is actually unsearchable by terraforming. I say unsearchable by terraforming because even though you can search it with terraforming, it would completely defeat the purpose because you can only activate this card at the start of your main phase 1. So in other words, if you search this card with terraforming and then you add it to your hand, you cannot activate it right away because you will not be at the start of your main phase 1 anymore. So yeah, this card is an unsearchable Saki one-of, but when it works, it works. So going first, this card protects you from a lot of targeting hand shops out there, so Valor, Imperm, etc. All these cards will do nothing against you. But another cool thing is that it also protects you from card effect destruction, so Ghost Ogre would do nothing, and Gamma would be less good. It does nothing to stop Nibiru on its own, but it actually does protect you from Nibiru Valor if you have an out in Nibiru in the first place. And going second, this card is really nasty at breaking boards because let's just say you're going second against Kashtira, you activate this card and then their Fenrir and a Rizard cannot banish your monsters anymore. So again, good card, but unsearchable one-of. If you're going first, you have a 12.5% chance to draw it, and going second, it goes up to 15%. And last but definitely not least is a tie between two cards that, again, look very similar, but at the same time are polar opposites. I'm talking about Shared Ride and Mistaken Arrest. So Shared Ride is kind of like a maxi for searching, so every time your opponent searches from the deck or graveyard to the hand, you draw one card, whereas Mistaken Arrest is more of like a Vanity's Emptiness for searching. So Shared Ride punishes your opponent for searching but doesn't prevent your opponent from doing that, whereas Mistaken Arrest actually does prevent your opponent from doing that, but also prevents you from searching as well. And I want to say that's the reason why Mistaken Arrest has always seen less play than Shared Ride, because of the fact that it's two-sided. As for Shared Ride, it's obviously a really good card, but I would only play it in slow formats and in decks that can draw into hand shops so you can survive if your opponent is trying to go for the kill. You know, same with Maxi. I would never play Maxi as my only hand shop. I would always play Maxi and some other hand shops so that if my opponent pops off, I can draw into hand shops and not die. But yeah, Shared Ride used to be remarkable in the Sky Striker era because, you know, it was really good in the mirror match. If you drew it, you pretty much won. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.